Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we bout to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. 716 make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and him. Talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
See if I can get this right. Bam, there it is. All right, welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I am your co-host Aramis,
and I'm camera 3. 40 keys, baby. Get that circle, that hurt, and you get a little something.
A little something with the something. What's going on, bro? How you feeling?
Hey, you know, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here.
All right. So I did just a quick update on last week. I did find out that you can control the cameras remotely, and instead of having to go through the process of building our own VPN, there's other like websites that we can use. So
with that being said, anybody interested?
Yeah, basically that's what that means.
We will pay you in love and attention. That's what we got. Love and attention.
You'd have to define love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The love of two brothers, or you know, you could be part of PPP. That's all we got.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Joey. Yeah, buddy. It is whooping season for week 4 Saints. What's going on, Tommy? What's going on, Bones? What's going on,
Tommy?
I'm sorry, I gotta say Thomas now because Tommy is Mafia Sports Report. I ain't talked to you in a few days. How you been, man? You good? All right. So the Saints 7, Bills 200. What's going on, Kev? I mean, how you feel about that? Saints 7, Bills 200.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the spread is like 15.5 or something like that right now.
I thought it was 16.5.
Well, they just said 15 on the radio, so maybe it fluctuates. Who knows? Okay. I mean, it's so early.
It might have went down.
Yeah, it might. It's early. It's week 4. That's what I'm gonna say. It's week 4. You know, I know what's supposed to happen and what people think is gonna happen, but it's week 4. So, do we come out with a W? Yes. Are we gonna come out with things we're gonna like? What the hell? Yes. We can come out with things they're like, yo, that was excellent. That was awesome. Of course. So, you know, with me being me, I'm not gonna go ahead and put a prediction out there.
Of course not. Of course not.
Why? Because I don't know much about the Saints at all. I just know that they're a team that wears gold and black. They play in the Bayou City. I don't know. I know it was Spencer Rattler's their quarterback. Still Kamara's their running back.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. The rest of them are all enigmas. I don't know. So yeah, I know they're 0-3.
Yeah, they're 0-3.
Yeah, so they should be 0-4 after Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at now. I mean, Thomas, I don't think it's going to be a trap game at all. I mean, again, one of the things that I think I had to land on in order to be at peace with what's going on this season in terms of not completely exploiting all of the abilities and capabilities we have as a team. And when I say that, I mean scoring, namely, and being, you know, dominant on offense the way we know we can be, is just kind of behaving in this way in the name of trying to stay injury free as much as possible. I just it's the only thing that I could come up with, you know, that makes sense when it comes to, well, let's not go all out, let's not, you know, but I mean, we're second in the league in blitzing, you know, in the amount of blitzes that we've had. I mean, I think it's the Dolphins that are like, you know, they got twice the amount of blitzes that we've had so far. But I'm still trying to make sense of all this. I'm still trying to get to a place where I can accept that going against the Saints on Sunday is going to be an exercise of discipline and patience, as opposed to an exercise of how many different ways can we smack this team in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like playing teams like this to me would seem to serve as an opportunity to, hey, remember that flea flicker play we drew up like 3 years ago? We never had the time to see if it worked. Let's see if it works in this game. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking at. Like when you play opponents like this is the opportunity to do those kind of things, right? And looking at some of the games that we've had against the Chiefs, where we would be playing them in the regular season and they would want to keep the game close. Like pure example, a prime example was last year, right? That third quarter drive that they had where they just started throwing the ball everywhere and they just marched right down the field in like less than 3 minutes and scored a touchdown. They hadn't played like that the entire game, and they didn't play like that after that drive, right? And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking about when I'm thinking, about what the Bills did against the Ravens and the times where we had to score against the Dolphins and we really just kind of, pulled it out the mud. And like, I think those are the kinks that I would rather see worked out against teams like the Saints, as opposed to ending up in games like the Ravens game in the playoffs and then having to like reach deep down and see if you actually got it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like that, I think that's what I'm kind of landing on as it still bugs me. It's still, but I can't get around that. I do have some things that the Bills can improve on and things that I think they're already doing well in terms of what will translate to the playoffs. So we'll get to that later on in the episode, but looking at everything that happened on Sunday, what are your takeaways, bro, from this weekend of games, and where do you think that seats the Bills in terms of their the NFL hierarchy? Do you still see the Bills as like, the top team in the league, or how does that come across to you?
I don't think anything is we can change the way the Bills are looked at. I think they're still top 3 worst in the whole NFL. Kansas City, they got an older Travis Kelce, who's getting into it with his coach, getting into it with Patrick Mahomes. Just frustration in week 3 already. That's not good for a Super Bowl dynasty that they have over in Kansas City. The Ravens, we'll see tonight. They play the Lions. Still, they'll be 1-2 if they lose, or 2-1 if they win. It's just so early. There's a lot of people still working things out. The Bills are still working things out. I watched the all 22 of the Miami game, and there's a lot of things in there that I'm like, what are we doing? And it's not a bad thing. It's just that you can see they're trying to figure things out. Like, people are ridiculing a lot of players. They're talking about Benford, they're talking about Terry White, they're talking about Rousseau, they're talking about the rookies, and they're rookies for a reason. So, if we're having these same conversations in week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 that we're having right now in terms of any of the teams that we're talking about, yeah, there's cause for a respective concern for each of the fan bases. But I think Buffalo is actually can be fixed. I think they will be fixed. Whatever the overlooked things that they still need to work on in the first 3 weeks of the season will be sewn up pretty well.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. I want to let's play a little game.
Triple A style. It's time to play the game.
Okay. Before we do that, let's get in a few of these comments here. Steve said Atlanta is the trap game trust. Based on what you've seen from Atlanta so far, what do you think?
I have not watched Atlanta.
You don't watch any other games at all?
At all. At all.
You got no time for anything but the Bills.
That's all I have no interest. Tonight I'm going to watch the Lions and Ravens, see who wins that one.
Yeah.
But WNBA still happening, college football still happening,
and hockey's getting ready.
I got that on my DVR is already set for the game tonight. It's a exhibition, so my dock is the cup runneth over, man.
The cup runneth over. Okay.
Craft, bowl, all that stuff.
Next thing you know, bowling championships are going to be right around the corner. You know what I mean?
Curling's coming up.
There you go. Okay.
Sweep, up. Yeah. nah.
All right. Kev says, looking at the game using Prime, I have a healthy dislike for our defensive scheme we play. I think the fear that our offense provides goes into the psyche of opposing teams.
I can tell you what I've seen. Okay. With that thought, can we lay off Rousseau, please? I mean, it's
the answer is no.
We know you're not, but I mean everybody else. If you watch the tape, you do your research, you can see that they're doing completely different things than they did with him last year. This year they have him line up in 5 technique. Last year he was a 9 technique. We're looking at half of his snaps. Well, no, how can I say it? He was 18% in 9 technique last year. So far he's been 9%. Mm-hmm. And what they're asking him to do is slant more. They didn't slant a lot last year, which means they're trying to set up twists and stunts and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You can see when they do that, he gets knocked off his mark. He gets washed down because who's he playing next to? As Nate calls him, Mr. Ed is not playing. So now you're playing against Deion Walker and TJ Sanders. TJ Sanders, people want to take off the field and take his jersey from him, and Deion Walker is horrible in the run game right now. He's doing well in the pass game, but what you got to understand is if teams know, let me back up on that. If the Bills, like Kevin said, the defensive scheme is now blitzing, which we're blitzing Cole Bishop. We blitzed him 3 times on Thursday. Dorian Williams twice. You know, they blitzed and blitzed and blitzed. But what that means is Rousseau's now asked to do stuff that he wasn't asked to do before. And even for his money now, he's what is it, per $1 million? He's at 2.6 pressures per $1 million from last year to this year. So he's not on pace to do what he did last year, but he's not asked to do what he did last year. If you watch the tape where he's in a 2-point stance or where he's in a wide 9, he looks drastically different than he did when he's not. If you just go back and watch the Dolphins game, he was beating his man all the time when he was in the 2-point or even just a wide 9. When they moved him into the 5 tech.
When you say beating his man, what do you mean?
He was getting pressure on the quarterback. So
as defined by like
the eye test. Just the eye test. So basically what
the actual definition of pressure is having an uninhibited path to the quarterback.
Right. He was on his way to the quarterback. He had a quarterback flushed him off his spot. Okay. So yeah. So when I say I don't even know what a hurry is, well, all I care about is did you beat your man and get to where the quarterback was or close to or make him do something? And a lot of times Rousseau did make him when he was in a wide 9. Now, if he's in that 5, he was getting pushed all the way over there. I think that's what drove me nuts when they said they're going to use him in multiple positions, D tackle, DN, all these different things. And we see now that if you put him at the 5 tech, 3 tech, whatever, he can't stand up against a block. You know, so none of them can.
He's got no weight.
Yeah, none of them can.
He's got enough weight.
And that's the sad thing about it. You know, the sad thing is now we're looking at trying to be exotic with these blitzes, but how cute is too cute? You know, there's got to be a fine line. You built this team to play one way, and now you're asking them to do something that I wanted to see, asking them to do something that a lot of fans want to see, but you don't have the personnel for it.
I don't know. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time pushing back on that. I'll simply say this. I think Rousseau in general is he didn't come in ready for what the Bills wanted to use him for, and in any given shape or form now kind of defeats the purpose because he's already making the money. And so if he's getting the money and his production turns out to be less than what it was for whatever reason, the idea is he's playing across from somebody who's better than anybody he's ever played across from. And he's in a position to make that work to his benefit, probably more than he ever has with all of the other talent that's been added to the defensive line. So when it comes to, you know, laying off of any of these guys on defense, I don't think it's possible to start cutting breaks when at the end of the day, these guys are expected to do a job. As much as I want to feel bad for a guy because he's being used out of place. And we make a lot of those excuses for a lot of these guys because you and I have done the work to understand who these guys were in college and what they did in college and how that's so far and away from what they're expected to do now. But if you get in the bag, you gotta do what it takes to support the getting of the bag. Like I really don't know any other way to say it. When I watch Rousseau on tape and I watch him do a stunt and I watch a guard hook him with one arm and he's standing straight up as opposed to having the lean that he's supposed to have as a pass rusher, I say to myself,
that's the problem. He's miscast and misused, and that's not on him to get paid. They paid him. They know what they're doing, and they screwed that up. So,
right.
I mean, if I'm not saying I feel bad for him, I'm not saying we should give him grace. I'm just saying if you're gonna critique something with somebody, know what you're talking about. And a lot of people that rewatch the game, like, you know what? Okay, I had a little bit of a quick trigger. What is a knee-jerk reaction? Was he good? No, this was actually one of his worst games. But when people say what they say about it, critique the right thing. And the reason why Kevin made me think about this is when like Kevin said, you had to blame the person that gave the bag. Yeah. So I mean, somebody, I think Kevin said too, that the defense as a whole is mid. Yes, it's true. And if you look at who did we talk about? We talked about Sean. Yeah, he was not good this week, but a lot of it has to do with one, who he's playing next to. None of the D tackles were good. They were abysmal. The scheme was bad. Everything was bad. And it's not going to work when you play against good offensive lines. But I think that goes into what you said when you talked about putting stuff on tape and seeing how it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't think the Dolphins took the Miami, not the Dolphins, the Bills took the Miami Dolphins the way that we wanted them to take it. I think they tinkered around with a lot of stuff that they probably won't do when ish hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I can poke holes in a lot of stuff on this defense. We've done it all the time, and nothing's changing. Well, it's changed, but the personnel hasn't. The scheme's changed, but the personnel has not. And I think we're going to see it go back to what it was before, where it's more rigid and bland, and because we're not getting home. There's no reason why we didn't get home, at all. There's no reason why we have defensive tackles on the field. And now people are talking about Ogunjobi. I can't wait till he comes back. Why? That's how bad we got. They're like, TJ Sanders, give your jersey up to Ogunjobi. Okay. But what about the rest of them? It's going to be a rotation. Huh?
They have no idea what's coming.
They
have no idea.
It's going to be a rotation. And the D line is a unit. It's a unit. If your D tackles aren't getting pushed, your DNs aren't getting pushed. Your DNs aren't getting rushed. Because the Bills now want to rush from the inside. I don't understand the makeup of what they did. They want to flip from the outside rush, which they I think I saw a stat where they're the second high per defensive end. They're the second highest. That's including Von Miller's contract because he's still on there for dead cap. But second highest in the league per defensive player on the defensive end roster. So I think we have to really evaluate who we have playing defensive end, because people say it was Joey Bosa good, was Epinesa good, was Solomon good.
Well, but the thing with that is, and I get where you're going, that if we're gonna define good, then let's define good. But to me, I think it's about impact plays, and you're paying Joey Bosa significantly less than what he seems to be worth at this point, which is a win for the Bills. Don't get me wrong, it's a win for the Bills, but that's the type of play and the style of play that Rousseau's had all offseason to learn from and to emulate, and he's not doing that. Whether it equates to pressures or not, I think the bottom line is this: Joey Bosa at this point has 2 sacks? Right? Two sacks in 3 games?
One.
You sure?
I think 1.
Okay. Well, that's still 1 more than what Rousseau has.
Half of 1 more than Rousseau.
Okay.
I'm just playing.
Be that as it may. I think the explosive plays from Joey Bosa are much more noticeable than anything that we've seen from Rousseau all season long thus far. And I think if people are asking about Rousseau, or if there's any criticism about Rousseau, it's specifically that. It's, look, you got the bag. We're looking to you to perform. You're supposed to be out there doing the same as, if not more than, a much older Joey Bosa, right? Joey Bosa's got what, 5-6 years on Greg Rousseau right now? Rousseau's what, 24, 25?
24, yeah, 24.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, this guy is still out there outperforming you. That's not okay. Whatever the reason is for that. And that's when the team goes and looks at their dollars and they look at I'll put it like this. If they had to cut somebody on the defensive line today, right, at defensive end, and they go and they look and they see, like, everybody's got a half a sack at this point. You know what I'm saying? And Joey Bosa's got one, and Rousseau's basically at the same level as everybody else. What are they going to say? Okay, well, I mean, look, we paying you $19 million, my man. Like, what you doing is not enough to justify the 19 mil. And the only reason that sits and is not talked about and is not touched is because the coach says so. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll put it like this. We have quite possibly the slowest secondary in the NFL right now, right? The average speed of our DBs is 4.5 40 time, right? Now, for a DB, that's not the kind of athleticism that you can just throw out there against any old body, right? You've got to be Jalen Johnson level great in zone, or Christian Benford level great in zone, or Trey White level great in zone to consistently, in order to be, to employ that kind of defense. But here's the thing, and I think this lends to the comment that Video Blessings made. Real talk, is Bobby Babish the defensive equivalent of Ken Dorsey to Ken Dorsey on offense? When you ask your DBs, who are primarily zone guys, to go on third down against the fastest receivers in the league and play man, I don't know what your expectation is at that point. Either you don't know your team, or they don't know themselves. They're gassing the coach's head up. Yeah, coach, I could do it. And then they get burnt on third down. My point is this. You can't continue to contradict yourself from a philosophy standpoint, right? We built this defense around, zone coverage, pressure with the defensive line, and we have a defensive line that gets, I think we're number 1 in pressures in the league right now, right? But pressures are not what creates, how can I put this? Pressure does not consistently create negative effects on the game, right? And I'll case in point this with what we see in the playoffs, right? We've had a defensive end that's been tops of the league in pressures his whole career pretty much. And what does that amount to in the playoffs? Nothing. Number 1 in the league this year. Still terrible on third down defense. It's still bad, right? So all of this culminates to what on defense? You get what I'm saying? Like, as much as I want to try and give people breaks, as much as I want to try to understand whose responsibility is what, I can't, like, to me, there needs to be a fundamental shift in the ideology behind the team itself. And of course, we know that's not going to happen until there's a fundamental shift in the personnel and One Bill's drive. But there's got pressure to make changes, got to come from somewhere. I heard a Sabres fan talking on WGR about the arrogance of the Sabres GM, right? And I think when you listen to that fan and you watch the reactions of Jeremy and Joe, They have no argument with that. Why? Because the team is bad. The team is beyond bad. One of the biggest playoff droughts in the NHL right now, right? Longest rather. And for me, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, well, how come you and I sit on this show and we talk about, issues with the team, and there's other fans that call the show and talk about issues with the team and they push back on that? Well, it's because of the regular season wins, right? And it just, again, I think the idea behind leave Rousseau alone or leave anybody alone is you're asking us to be forgiving of a guy making $20 million, and I probably have made only $1 million in the entire span of my working history.
You made that much?
Maybe.
Damn.
you know what I'm saying?
I think, okay, let me backtrack, because I'm not saying forgive or any of that nonsense. What I'm saying is, like I said before, if you're gonna talk about it, talk about it. Let's talk about why things are. I don't care who we're talking about. Let's talk about the fact the Bills went from one of the worst blitzing teams to the second most blitzing team in the league. Why do you think that people look bad? They were decent before. Because they're doing stuff that they're not supposed to do, or stuff that they're not built to do. They built the team to do something one way for the last, 4 or 5 years. And then now you're going to do an about face and just try to change it up with the same people and think it's going to work. It didn't work before, and it's not going to work again. Why isn't it working? We got to ask ourselves that. It's not working because, like I said before, you don't have complementary defensive pieces. Your defensive line should not be small if your linebackers are small. Your linebackers can't be big and your defensive line big. You can't have a slow secondary and play man, like you just said. You can't have a defensive line that doesn't get to the quarterback. None of them do. Right. I don't care. You're talking about Bosa, I'm talking about Panessa, talking about South. None of them do. There's a love for certain players, and what I'm saying is, if we're going to talk about this guy, let's talk about all these people, and it can't be collective. Michael Hoyt probably isn't going to change anything for this team. Larry Gunjobi's not going to change anything for this team. What needs to happen is the people that play need to figure out how to make these guys good. We need to figure out they're good players as a player would be there in the NFL, but are they in the right scheme? And I don't know if that was a sneeze or a cough, but bless you anyway. Okay, well, bless that cough. But I don't think that we can really criticize somebody without knowing the full context. And that's what I'm asking. And this show, I ask people, I ask people to not just say this sucks and that sucks and this sucks because that sucks. Tell me why. And then that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't have your opinion. I'm not saying you can't say what you want or see what you saw. But I'm just trying to put something in your head that says, you know what? The personnel is bad because what you're asking them to do is not what they're equipped for. If you know Bosa can't, or I'm sorry, Rousseau can't do this, why are you making them? Maybe that's what they're trying to do on the tape against Miami. They said they can't beat us. We're fine. Then that's why I never had any pause about the game we played on Thursday. But going forward, when you play against the Lions or the Eagles or the Ravens again, you got to have your stuff buttoned up. You can't be out there trying stuff. So I think right now you have to, you like you said with the Saints game leading up, this is going to be the same kind of game. I'm not talking about you, Sean. The same kind of game where what's up, Lynn? Talking about a trap game or whatever. No, the Saints is a warm-up game because that's going to be a culmination where you can get Hairston back. Speaking of Hairston, where's Dorian Strong? Why is he not playing? We like what we saw with him against the Ravens, and he's just been a non-factor since then. Yeah. Give him another shot. People talk about Trey White and Christian Benford and how bad they were, but they only gave up, they had 1 million catches, but they only gave up what 40, 50 yards. I mean, Tua had 146 yards. Now, is this stuff going to work? Is this going to work when we play against quality players? Tua's shot. Tyreek Hill don't care. Jalen Waddle is just now trying to get back into himself. But I don't understand. For me, a lot of people, when they say it is, because I hear a lot of pundits speak. I hear a lot of, well, Joe Marino said that. Well, Greg Thompson said this. Well, Anthony Prohaska said that. What do you say? Whether it's right or wrong, what do you say? And some people will look at the film, and some people will look at stats. Some people will find, go into this and see exactly what's happening. But when you don't tell me what should be happening. I'm like, well, tell me what I need to see. What did you see that I didn't? Because when I watched the game on Thursday, I said this defense is uninspired. Zion Logan's playing more than Deion Walker. TJ Sanders has not gotten close to the quarterback at all yet. What the hell are we doing here? You know, and that's my gotcha. You know, let's see. Somebody said, I saw somebody say they were going to be credit. What am I getting credit for? I'll give you credit. We passed on a double dip for TJ Sanders when we could have got Luther Burke and another. Yeah, we could. I mean, we could have. I mean, because think about it. We got, you know, we traded and got Landon Jackson. Where is he? He doesn't even have a jersey. We traded up to get TJ Sanders and spin. Oh, you're there. Good. Tell me again about Omar Norman Lott. Tell me again. Because I can tell you that he's number 9 in pass rush win rate, and your boy TJ Sanders is 32nd. So, I mean, tell me again. And this is not the PFF grades. This is win rates and stuff like that. He has 1 sack. I'm waiting on TJ Sanders to get me one. I had high hopes for TJ Sanders after watching him with his technique, but I'm not seeing it now. Deion Walker, he can get on the field, but he can't be on the field in short yard situations. And that's a problem when you're 340 pounds and you can't be on the field when the teams are running because you can't stop the run. That's an issue. We got to get that. We got to nip that in the bud. Now I'll give you grace on your back because you got to get back in playing shape. I'll give you that. But you know, that's pretty much where it stops. I need these guys to step up and start doing what they're supposed to. And McDermott's calling people out in the second, third, and we know they need to be better. They know they need to be better. They felt it. When you get, I mean, trust me, when you get pushed off your spot, time and time again, when your back is towards the ball carrier, time and time again, you kind of realize that you're not playing very well. And I think as a professional player, whether you're a rookie or a 10-year man, you know that Daquan Jones was good enough, but who else is with him? So when Ed Oliver comes back, now we get to see what this defensive line is really made of, because there will be no excuses at that point. It has nothing to do with Ogunjobi. It has nothing to do with injuries. It has nothing to do with youth. Let's get to it. Play football, and it's up to the coaches to put them in a position to play football.
As it stands right now, the Bills defense is 23rd in the league in yards per play allowed at 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the teams behind the Bills, the Giants, the Panthers, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Titans, the Cowboys, and the Bears. Those are the teams that are worse than the Bills. The teams ahead of the Bills, directly ahead of the Bills: Ravens, Lions, Bengals, Jets, Eagles, Commanders. I mean, it's when you look at, you know, obviously you're going to look at the better teams in the league. The Packers, you know, are up there at 3.7. They're number 1 overall, by the way, at 3.7. Thank you for that. 3.7 yards per play. Cleveland Browns are at 3.8 yards per play. Falcons are at 4.3. So a lot of defenses. I mean, the Vikings have looked, you know, pretty darn good. They're at 4.6. Seahawks have a really good defense. They're at 4.7. Chargers had the number 1 defense last year. They're at 4.9. Same as the Texans and Broncos and Cardinals and Chiefs. So, I mean, to me, and the reason I go to yards per play is the idea of bend but don't break philosophically is and has always been a very consistent winner in the regular season, right? And when you look at let me see if I can get to the playoffs from last year. I want to see if I can get to the playoffs from last year. So postseason here. Let's see. Yep, I can. Okay. So the Bills yards per play were, out of all 14 playoff teams, the Bills were, sorry, excuse my sniffle there. They were 10th of all the playoff teams, allowing 6.2 yards per play in the playoffs.
Who is this?
The Bills.
Okay.
Ahead of them last year were the Chargers, Vikings, Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Packers, Bucks, Rams, and Texans. and the Bills beat the Broncos and the Steelers in the play. I'm sorry, was it just the Broncos or the Broncos and the Steelers, and then it was Broncos and then Steelers and then Chiefs last year, right? Because those are the teams behind the Bills in the playoffs. There's the Steelers, Broncos, Lions, and Commanders. And I think we gave up the second most touchdowns behind the Commanders with 8 as well out of all the playoff teams. So let's do this. Let's go back to the regular season and let's see the difference from 2024. Let's see. Bills were yards per play allowed. Okay.
Well, you got that. Lynn, no, I'm fine with Deion Walker. All I'm saying is that he's not a run stuffer. He made a couple of plays against A-Chain, but one, A-Chain never gets off on the Bills. And two, go look at the Ravens game. Go look at the Jets game. He wasn't that great. You got to. It's not about just making the stop. It's about does he control 2 gaps? If he's a one tech, he's got to control 2 gaps, which he hasn't really done. He's made plays. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, when we were playing against Miami and we're on the goal line and Walker's in there, he's getting pushed back. At 340 pounds, you got to get lower. It's about pad level, and it's gonna come. I'm not saying he's bad. It's gonna come. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying right now, you can't have that. And Deion Walker played. He did start, but he got pulled. You realize he got pulled in a Miami game, and McDermott even talked about it. He said Deion Walker wasn't good enough. That's why Zion Lowe played more than he did. That's why TJ Sanders played more than he did. Deion Walker had the fewest snaps of a defensive tackle in the game. But yeah, I mean, he did. Like I said, you're never gonna hear me poo-poo on a rookie. Just pile on him. Will I call out stuff they can get better at? Yeah. But no, I'm encouraged with him, and I was cool with him when they drafted him. He was a guy that I thought would like. I really wanted to have him on this team. Going forward with regards to who could possibly be a one tech, who could possibly be a backup space eater, somebody that could rush the quarterback a little bit. Only thing about Deion Walker I was worried about was 2 things. 1, his lower body strength, and 2, the back. Obviously, I was worried about the back because as A talked about in the last show, how the back is it takes forever for it to come back to you. Once your back is going, oh boy, those legs you can't really grow your legs. You can't do a lot of bending. And I don't know the severity of what happened with the injury he had. So I think for me, the only thing I have to say about Deion Walker is he's a work in progress. So yeah, no, I'm very encouraged by what he is and what he can be. And if I am being negative about him, let me know. I didn't think I didn't mean it that way, but I'm just trying to be critical when it comes to to guys, especially. I look at it like this: say it's your kid, and your kid comes and says, Dad, how'd I do in my game? You're brand new to the sport. I'm going to tell you what you can do to get better. I'm going to tell you what you can do, to not get beat again, to not lose a rep. But it might not all come off as sunshine and gumdrops, but I mean the best when I say these things. Can Deion Walker outplay me at defensive tackle? Absolutely. Not even close. One of them twice his age. But that hurt you. That cut you deep, huh? Cut you deep because that means you're almost twice his age too.
No, not at all.
But no, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I know you were looking for some stats there.
No, So I was looking at the Bills yards per play allowed in the regular season last year. The Bills are actually better by the end of the season than where they are now. And I guess that's the hope, is that they get better. But I mean, again, I just showed everybody how when they got to the playoffs last year. So to be clear, 5.5 yards per play allowed in the regular season. And then when you get to the postseason, the Bills were allowing, just to recap, the Bills were allowing 6.2 yards per carry. Okay, so it's gonna go up, and I think that pretty much rings true Just to be safe, we'll go back to 2023. 2023, the same exact number. Bills were giving up 6.2 yards per play, right? You go back to the regular season for 2023, and the Bills were giving up 5.1 yards per play for that entire season, right? I think it was 5.5 that in 2024. So a little bit worse last year than it was in 2023. And this year, it seems to be starting out about the same. About the same. Regular season, the Buffalo Bills are at 5.5. Same as last season. So the point of me bringing up yards per play is this. I heard a stat on the radio this morning. I think it was Joe saying that the Bills are giving up, the Bills gave up in that game, they only gave up 4.3 yards per play. And he said that's really not bad. And when he said that, my face wrinkled up so hard. Like you got to imagine, like I'm driving and just out of nowhere, my face is just like, what? What? 4.3 yards per play is not bad. Do we understand what that means?
Who said that, Joe?
Joe.
Maybe he's comparing it to what we do.
I don't care what he's comparing it to.
I mean, if you're comparing to what we do, it isn't bad. But yeah, I mean, no, because I was talking, and this goes to your point. I was telling Kim was playing Madden 2 Sundays ago, and he ran the ball. He only got 4 yards. He doesn't really understand what's going on yet. But man, that's terrible. I'm like, why is it bad? He's like, I only got 4 yards on first down. I said, Ken, you need 10 for a first. He was like, I know, I didn't get it. I said, what's 4 times 3? What do you mean? I said, you have 3 downs to get a first. 4 yards on every down is going to get you that first every time. He's like, how you figure? I said, do the math. Write it down. So this is a teaching moment. But yeah, I mean, if I can average 4.3 yards, it's not flashy, it's not cute, it's not fun to watch, but I'm going to win a lot of games. That's the way I look at it.
Yep. And that's my point. Thank you for that, because that's exactly my point. Is if you're giving up 4.3 yards per play, that means you're giving up a first down the whole game. Basically, every time they run 3 plays, they're guaranteed a first down based on that average. Mm-hmm. Now we know that didn't happen,
right?
But in this game, the Bills were worse on third down than they had been all season long. You know, and I know it's week 3, right? Spin is over here saying that probably rings true for every defense. Regular season, you play in the bad teams, and postseason, you play in the best teams. I mean, look, the idea is to play well. You know what? Let's look at the Eagles. Let's just pull the Eagles out of here. So the Eagles during the regular season, yards per play.
And Darth Stegeter, yeah, he said I have back problems and it can shut you down hard, unable to move. You ain't lying about that.
Man,
you ain't lying about that. You like, who kicked me in my back? Who did this to me? What happened? And it's a terrible thing. It sucks.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. All right, so Eagles are 5.3 yards per play in. Whoa, oh, that's right. You gotta go to 24. Okay, apologies. So the Eagles were 4.7 yards per play in the regular season last year. In the postseason, where are the Eagles? 5.2. That's not that big of a difference. They were at 4.7 during the regular season, and they went to 5.2. That's a difference of what? 4.7
and 5.2.
0.5 yards. Half a yard. They gave up half a yard more in the postseason, whereas the Bills went from 5.5 to what, 6.2? Mm-hmm. That's 0.7. It's a bigger difference. I mean, the point is this though. There's a noticeable ability that teams like the Eagles have to stop offenses, right? And there's a level of respect that you hear talked about or spoken with regard to that team's defense, or a defense like the Ravens. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we've seen that team really shut down what? Great teams. Right? When you put the brakes on a Rams team, right? That's a team that the Bills couldn't stop. Eagles did it. Right? So the idea of debating all of what I'm saying is really beside the point, because the idea is not to agree or disagree with what I'm talking about. The idea is to hear what I'm talking about and ask the question of, what does it mean? What it means is we have a defense that, based on the numbers that we're seeing so far, if you put up the same or similar numbers in the regular season, and then you put up the same or similar numbers in the postseason as what you've done just the last 2 years that we've looked, you should not expect a different result.
Yeah, what I don't like about the defensive conversion rate is they're 100% against in fourth downs, and they're 26 in the league in red zone. So basically, most good teams, like they'll bend, but then they get to a certain threshold, whatever case, then they stiffen up. It just seems like they just stiffen up, right? They're like, no more. Now we're gonna take this ball. Now we're gonna do whatever. The Bills I'm showing, I think they're in the bottom 5 in points against per drive. So those are the alarming numbers for me. We actually got better in third down against, not by much, but we got better. We're not the worst anymore. Mm-hmm. We can definitely improve on the numbers that we have on third down. But I think who was it? Jeff said there's no fixing a D in the season. We stuck with his dump truck. See, that's the thing that bothers me, and it's not what Jeff said. It's the thing that bothers me is like, okay. So how when you're trying to replace something like your brakes or whatever the case may be, and the brakes, you get this new package, and the brake says I can do this, I can do that, whatever the case may be, whatever feature, we'll just say. You throw them on, they're not fitting quite right, so you got to throw the old ones back on and try to tweak it a little bit. Last year we had competent safety play. Jordan Hancock, I don't know. Had we had a better cornerback 2 rather. Dorothy, don't at me. I meant cornerback 2. Russell Douglas, Dorian Strong. I don't know. Had we had a better right end,
both guys who are faster than some of the other guys that we have at those positions.
Yeah, and we had, who was our right end last year that was so great? Von Miller. He only played 30% of the snaps. Mm-hmm. We got Joey Bosa. So why not try to do a hybrid of what you did last year until you actually can fix it? Because what I saw in Thursday's game was complete and utter. They're just trying something so far out of left field right now. Like we talked about, they're not athletic, which is fine. But you don't blitz the second most amount of times in the league when you don't have any athletes.
That's especially at corner.
Yeah, it's weird to me because if you watch, and this has nothing to do with Rousseau, but if you watch when Rousseau lined up in the 9 technique, what they do, they threw right over him. They had A-chain over on the side. They threw right there. Fast. No chance to get to the guy. And I think Joe Marino, he said it. He was right. He said for Tua, he was holding the ball all day because, that's not normal for Tua. But if this isn't working, I'll put it on tape. Can you tweak it? Now, maybe you do it again against the Saints and say, maybe we'll change something else. We won't blitz Cole Bishop. Maybe we'll bring another guy in the box. Maybe we'll bring Dorian Williams out there and move Tyron Johnson somewhere. Maybe we'll do something more exotic than what we have. Because if we're talking about it, remember I mentioned that 3-3-5? Mm-hmm. Ed Oliver's hurt. Perfect time to try a 3-3-5. You're not taking Ed Oliver off the field. Daquan Jones, slide him in, into the 1 tech, maybe 2 tech, and see what happens against the Saints. Who knows? You might have found a diamond in the rough because right now Cole Bishop is our leading blitzer. That's crazy to me, but he's the leading blitzer. We went from not blitzing now bringing safeties up, but that means you got a single high with Taylor Rapp. How many of you guys show of hands trust Taylor Rapp in coverage? Nobody's tested our guys over their heads yet. Nobody's tested them. Right. So when they start doing that, are we going to drop back into it? That's when you drop back into that soft cover 4, cover 3, stop pressing. And like I said, I get it. You have to see what works, but it's just frustrating when you have to live through it. These are things you should have ironed out in the training camp and in preseason. Does this work? Does it not work? But instead, they're trying to figure out who plays special teams. That drives me nuts.
Right. All right. So let's go here. So there's a couple of things that I think the Bills need to do to improve the rest of the season. And I'm going, I got a couple of things on offense, a couple of things on defense, and you let me know what you think.
I got you.
Okay. I consider these things the things that you can do well, things that you can scale and carry with you into the playoffs, right? First thing is score points. You've had terrible outings on offense, and you put up 41,
points,
30, and 31. So you can score points. Josh Allen is leading the league by a country mile in EPA at plus 32.6. You can score points. Period. You're fine. Second thing is running the ball. You can run the ball. Let him cook. Cook leads the league in rush yards over expected with plus 82.
Wait. Now go.
Cook leads the league in rush yards over expected with plus 82 and has the most rushes of 10 plus yards right now. Feed that man. Feed him.
And for people that say, well, he had a lot of guess what? It's still 4.3 yards a carry over expected. I looked it up.
Yep. So those are a couple of things that we know we've got in the bag that we can take with us into the playoffs, bar none, right? Because we've seen it happen with ease. We've seen it happen without great effort. And I think the addition of all the extra carries and stuff like that is more based on the effort to stay disciplined and stay, patient and not really get impatient and throw the ball down the field, the way that we've been, chiming for. So I think that's where all the carries come from. I don't think it's a concerted effort I shouldn't say concerted effort. I don't think it's a matter of we can't pass the ball, so we rely on the run heavily. I think it's, let's just take it easy on the pass. And we don't need to do all of this stuff right now. Let's just run the ball. Let's get through these games. Let's, whatever. Right. So I to kind of assist your point of don't even bring up the idea of all the carries he's getting. It doesn't matter. He's still great anyway. Right. Defensively, you got to stop playing man on key downs.
That means 1 through 4.
That would pretty much be it. It pretty much be it. You got to stop playing again. As I stated, if you go and you look at the 40 times of our top 3 DBs, right? Christian Benford ran a 4.53. Trey White ran a 4.47, but we know he's not playing at a 4.47
anymore. He's got 2 ACLs and Achilles. Yeah,
he's probably a 4.3, 4.6 guy, at this point, right? Taron Johnson's a 4.5 flat guy, and he's up there in years. So I mean, not saying that these guys have significantly slowed down, but they were never fast to begin with, right? Dorian Strong is a 4.47 guy, same as Trey White, right? But when you watch him play on tape, when you watch him run, when you watch him track down Derrick Henry, he looks faster than some of the other guys that we have on the field.
Well, take it even further. Look at what he did on the opening kickoff against the Miami.
There you go.
I mean, he was right step for step. And that dude went to the house the week before. Yeah, I know that. I saw that clip. But no, I mean, he was step for step. And I think I don't remember who said it. I wish I could give him credit. I know it's another podcast that said it, but they're like, he's freaking fast. Maybe he's not blazing, but he's fast. He's tall. He's physical.
Exactly.
That's what I want on the field.
Yep. That's it. Let me see. That was, I don't know why my notes got mixed up like this. This is something offensive that I put in the defensive section here.
It's all right.
So
you recognized it.
I know. All right. So I'll just skip that and go to defense. So The second thing for defense is you have to facilitate Rousseau's success. After hearing your argument and after going back and watching the tape, I did realize that the way that they're using him on stunts, they're not giving him enough space, or they're not orchestrating the stunts with the right person to give him enough space to get the right amount of leverage, bend, or just space in general to create the kind of pressures that he needs to create up the middle.
Yeah, I think your point is brought home by what I said earlier when I was talking about how he lines up in a wide 9.
Yeah,
I mean, he's 6'7", 260. Most people say he's a huge man. No, he's not.
No, he's skinny.
That's not huge at all.
Yeah,
you know, he's got defined arms, but the rest of him is not huge.
Right.
So, like you said, he's got speed. So get him in space. That's why that wide 9 has to happen. Because if you line him up on that tag, you took his whole advantage away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're doing this year. They're blitzing from they want to cover. They want the pressure to come from elsewhere. We know he's not an edge rusher. We know that. But there's a reason why he's not doing anything versus last year when he was doing something well.
Yep. I mean, truth be told, Mario Williams came here and put up 10 sacks, and he wasn't the fastest guy. Right? Was he a big bendy guy? No, he was a power rusher.
He was like Bosa.
Exactly. Yeah. And so when I'm thinking about the wide 9 just defensively as a whole, I'm like, yo, with Bosa and Rousseau out there, why not run that? Like, that makes more sense than anything else. You already give up the run anyway. That was the issue with the wide 9, is you giving up too much in the run game. Right. You already do that now. Why not just go wide 9 and look, hey, Schwartz, we stealing your stuff, bruh.
Right.
But it is what it is. It works for our people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do if I was Sean.
Yeah, I think you know. And the thing about it, what was the guy's name? Mark Anderson. That was his name. The guy, the opposite of Mario Williams.
And
he ate. And I mean, Rousseau can't be that guy. Exactly. I don't remember Anderson being anything special. He was quick off the edge. Rousseau was quick, but you're taking away everything he has.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done. And I think Sean, let's see, I have a lot of clips with wide open holes that David. Oh, okay, never mind. He's talking about Ray Davis. I thought me and Sean were sparring about Rousseau, so I thought that was coming out. Man, this dude types fast, but I'm sure he'll have something. Now he's laughing right now. No.
All right. I like this comment here from Walter. It says, I don't love the idea that we have to deep dive studying the tape to make a case for Groot's game, because his cap number surely is front and center. Okay,
let me ask you this. Let me change that on you. Last year, he was number 1 in pressures. He had 8 sacks. He had 28 tackles for loss the last 2 years, but this year he has none. It's not even a deep dive as that he got the bag. It's a deep dive. What the hell happened? What's different? And that's why, and for me, that's why I'm looking like, what the hell just happened? Why is it not? He didn't mail it in. If anything, they put him on a leadership council. Now you're the leader, and now I'm sitting here like, why does he suck? And listen to other podcasters when they go the night of the game, and they not even just him, anybody, and they just rail on somebody. I'm like, was he really that bad, or are we just really being emotional? So let me go back and look at it. Now, had this not been a Thursday night game, I would have had this for you on Friday. But there's no all 22 until after we started the show, because it was so late. We're criticizing 21-year-olds who are being asked to play due to injuries. You don't praise the advanced pass for a skill set that shows up in the 3 minutes per quarter. Yeah, spin. I was going to say that too. Rousseau, I know it sounds bad. He's only making $20 million. Now the elite edge rushers are making double that. So
but that just happened this year. It wasn't like they've been doing that for the last however.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, but I mean, in the market he's in, he got paid half of the guys that are good. Garrett got the bag. Hendrickson, I don't know what he got, but I know he got more money.
Okay, fine. If the money, if he's getting paid half the money as those guys, he should be putting up half the stats.
Oh, for sure. Sure.
Bottom line.
I'm not going to argue that.
If you got these guys coming in with, anywhere between 14 to 20 sacks, then Rousseau should be coming in with at least half that.
We got to get more than 7.
What?
I mean, the thing, it's not even, see, for me, like I said, it's not him for me. It's what they changed him to do now. And maybe they'll look at that, as the season goes on, because they have to be saying, what's wrong with 50? Something's going on with 50. What are we doing differently? And what do we need to do to get that back? Because the tackles for loss is something that we need. We need somebody. But, in hindsight, were the tackles for loss a product of Ed Oliver's pressure that nobody thought of, a product of Daquan Jones? Because if you look at Daquan Jones, is almost split out on the side with Bosa as much as he is on Rousseau's side, which means Rousseau was playing wide 9 next to TJ Sanders, next to Zion Logue, next to guys that were like, not yet. And he has to be able to make the plays, but like we talked about, if that's your cornerstone that you paid $20 million for, you probably need to do what he does best. And we know the 5 tech is not his best gambit.
Yes, Roy. Yes, the answer to your question is yes. 3 of those sacks
the
came
first one
in the very first game last year, and then after that, the rest of the season, he put up 5 sacks.
Yeah, and so just go back and watch it, because me and Matt, we talked about it. He said he's going to get double. I said he ain't getting double-digit sacks. And after that week 1, he looked at me funny. I said he still ain't getting it. I was kind of nervous because he had 3 sacks after week 1, but I'm like, he still ain't gonna get it.
I don't know. I don't like the idea of this, because Walter's saying that he also isn't being paid to be the same guy he's always been. Yeah, that's kind of my point, because I think it was Spin who said Groot he's not getting paid to be an elite pass rusher.
Right.
My question would be, what the heck is he getting paid for then?
Well, see, that's the thing, and this is the answer. Who was it? Was it Spin said that? Yeah. Because Sean responded, and I agree, Sean. And one, we're both Oliver soldiers. I know that for sure. But yeah, no, I if you're gonna pay a Groot to do something, it doesn't have to be pass rushing. It doesn't have to be, because if it was pass rushing, he should have got paid more. But we know he can't do that. I said that. I said it last year. But where are the tackles for loss? Where is it the benefit in the run game? That's what's missing. He has 5 tackles on the season. Last year, he had, 40-something, 50 tackles, but he had 14 tackles for loss. Those are game-changing plays, and that's what we need back. I know people that really like, they like sacks, they like hits and stuff like that, but that's just not what he does. And they knew that. They knew that when they signed him, so I can't get mad about that component. But what I can get mad about is the fact that he's not able to do, or he's not doing what he did last year for whatever reason.
Yeah. I'm gonna start really paying attention to the job that Babich is doing from a play calling standpoint, because we know this is not his defense specifically, but I do think it makes a difference. Lynn says, I really believe that Babich is not prepared and is really waiting for injured and suspended guys to return. The other part of this is the regression on third down that we've seen under Babich. The 2 years that he's been the defensive coordinator, we've had one of the worst third down defenses in the league. And I think a lot of that comes down to, you have a guy in Sean McDermott who has been a long tenured defensive, coach in the NFL, and should be offering as much, ammo, info, whatever it is, to Babich to prepare him for these instances, right? But instead, what's happened is you got Sean McDermott, who's this defensive mind that says, go ahead and do anything you want between the 20s. Once you get inside the 20s, that's where we tighten up, and that's where we slow you down and we force you to kick a field goal, right? And furthermore, we don't really care about stopping the run so much. We actually invite the run. We prefer that you run the ball, because that means you're less likely to score points if you're running the ball all game long, right? So when you combine that with the one of the worst third down defenses in the league, you have a defense that is starting to seem much more vulnerable than it ever has, right? Because even when we had the number 1 defense in the league, going up against the Chiefs in the divisional round, it was you're not going to be able to pass the ball, on us the way you would any of these other teams. Like we do it on a different level here in Buffalo, right? And at the time the Chiefs weren't really running the ball that well either, so it was kind of like the best situation for the Bills. Our strength versus their strength, or their weakness versus our weakness, right? And that game still ended up being a shootout. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the best version that Sean could ever put together of his vision for this team still wasn't enough at its pinnacle in a key playoff game, in a shootout. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess what I'm trying to get at with this is Babbage is a guy that was put in that place by Sean McDermott. There wasn't any outside interviews. There wasn't any. It's the same as the Dorsey hire. Josh, you like Dorsey? Yeah. Okay, cool. Dorsey, you got the job, right?
I think more like, Josh, you like Dorsey, right? You like Dorsey, right? Yeah. Shake your head, because that's who we're hiring. You like him, right? Okay.
Right. But again, what we're seeing, let's not get caught up in Babbage is doing this and doing that. Has the defense regressed in a way under him? Yes, 100%. You have to say that. That's what that's what the math will show you. But to your point about how we consider Rousseau's role in the defense, you got to kind of do the same for Babbage. Is he a good linebacker coach? Is he a good defensive mind? Is he able to improve the play of players that he coaches? 1,000%. We saw it with safeties. We saw it with linebackers. We saw it with the defense from a physical standpoint. You know, the defense seemed to attack more and being more energetic under Babbage. All great things, but that doesn't mean that you just hand that guy his very first defensive coordinator job.
Kevin Hart said because outside defensive coordinators wouldn't run this crap. So yeah, I mean, I you know what?
Absolutely right.
I really want to know, because this is uncharacteristic of the Sean McDermott defense. It's uncharacteristic. I mean, Babbage in this season now has blitzed more than McDermott ever has. They're running twists. They're doing exotic stuff. But the problem is, this is where I'm not pushing back. But my thought is this. They said, Babbage, you run your defense, but these are your players. If they say these are your players, and Babbage's like, I know what I want to run, but he's too slow. He's not quick enough. I'm screwed. You know, it's like, I want to transition. So next year, are they going to allow him to pick his players, pick people? Are we going to get another defensive draft? Probably.
Well, you can't. Again, you're stuck with Benford's contract because you just gave him $19 million. So that's your number one corner, right? So him and his 4.53 speed is going to be stuck there at CB1. So what does that mean? Well, that means every single time you want to do a stunt or a blitz or anything like that, that gives the quarterback a little bit more time in the pocket. If he's good, right? Most guys know how to shift around and move in a pocket, even with stunts and all that kind of stuff. And if you go against a good offensive line, they'll communicate well enough to pick that up. Right. And that means you're leaving your best corner, who might also quite possibly be your slowest corner, out there on an island with majority of the time a receiver who's going to be faster or more shiftier than he is.
It's been, I want to ask you here, defensive end, linebacker, safety, defensive tackle are all needs next year. Defensive end, yes. Linebacker, yes. Safety, are we sure? I mean, I maybe, but we haven't seen Hancock play at safety yet. Defensive tackle, they're three young guys, really. Zion Logue, I know people are probably like, get him off the team, he's a bum, but he's in his second year. Practice squad player last year. You got two guys.
How old is he?
Zion Logue, like 24.
Oh, he's a young boy.
Yeah, he's in the second year. Yeah, he's you know, so he came out of Georgia last year. So he played it with Van Perrin Granger and James Cook and all them. But defensive tackle, I'm like,
hell no, we don't want Rat back. Are you serious?
Okay,
Spence said, "Do you want Rat back?"
Let me keep going, because I said Hancock, but I'm okay with Bishop. I'm okay with Bishop right now.
Yeah, I'm all right with Bishop.
But Hancock is what I would like to see. See, yeah. Spin, I'm with you. Believe man, because I'm sitting here thinking that, and yeah, you say we need a free safety unless Hancock can do that. And that's what I'm hoping he can. Yeah. Even Cam Lewis is okay at free safety. Yeah. He was good.
The thing with Cam Lewis though is
he's getting old.
He's getting old, and he's a little bit smaller than Hancock, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right?
He's like 5'11". Yeah, he's not 6.
So I don't want that guy going against, going up in the box and trying to tackle a Derrick Henry or
unless he's Bob Sanders.
Yeah, Bob Sanders.
He was crazy.
He was 5'8", 205.
But he kept getting hurt too.
He
didn't know his size.
205.
He didn't know he was like freaking Mosey Bogues, but I'm big. But no, in my vision, Spin, tell me if I'm really wrong. Okay, so defensive end, I'm looking at. Let's watch Mike Green tonight. Because Mike Green had a good showing last week, and that's the kind of defensive end I envision on the opposite side of Rousseau. Rousseau's here. I mean, he just signed. He's here. So let's scrap that. Defensive tackle, I think you need a better scheme. But I think we have something with the defensive tackles. Linebackers, Bernard is small, and that gives me pause because with the defensive line that they're built small. So Bernard stuck in the middle of that defense is not advantageous for our run defense. I want him on the field, but can he play outside somewhere? Can we bring Dorian Williams in somewhere to kind of absorb some of the contact that's going to be from the offensive lineman getting to the second level? Cornerbacks, we have Harrison Strong, and we have Christian Benford. Now, what we need to do is figure out what cornerback plays the best zone on the opposite side, because you got to do what Christian Benford does well.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to figure out who plays the best zone in CB2. Safety, I really, really want to see Hancock next to Bishop. If we can nail that down, we're good at safety. We're set. Yeah. So all you have to do at that point is now figure out what scheme how you're gonna scheme this together. And Steve, no, but I 100%. That's what I was gonna say, but I just lumped it all as Babbage. But this does have Nielsen written all over it. Just even they're slanting all the time. They always slant towards the stream. I'm like, why do we keep doing it? Because they're not big enough to withstand that tandem block, that crash block. None of our defensive linemen not named Daquan Jones or Daquan Jones, because even though Deion Walker is big, he's not big where it matters in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
So if they crash down on him, they're gonna move you out of the gap you're supposed to be looking at. And so McDermott benches them rookie style, saying, you know what, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're out of here. Guess what? Maybe don't do that. Maybe shelve the slants because it's not working. It's not working for Rousseau. It's not working for Jones. It's not, Jones, he's a man. He's doing what he thinks. Bosa and Jones are not in this conversation, but everybody else, I wonder why they were bad. They just forgot how to play between week 2 and week 3. I don't think so.
What we saw the Bills do against the Dolphins this past week is don't forget about
No, I put that up because everybody needs to know the concept why I giggled.
Oh, okay.
And then
don't worry, I'm sure Bean will remember not to draft it. You're probably right. Probably right. Probably because we already have Josh Palmer here.
Right.
Never mind Curtis Samuel.
Right.
But what was I gonna say now? What was the last thing?
I screwed you all up. I was talking about the slants and the stunts, and we were talking about
yeah. So what we saw the Bills do against the Dolphins in week 3. If you go back and watch the tape, you'll notice our defensive tackles were getting lots and lots of penetration. It just happened to be in the wrong spots.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There was penetration happening that the offensive lineman, you could tell the offensive lineman didn't want them to penetrate there specifically.
Right.
But it still worked to the benefit of the run that was being, ran, because they happened to be going away from where the penetration was.
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, you have defensive tackles that can, make an impact like that and get penetration, as needed, right? They're quick enough to do it. They're agile enough to do it. They're good with their hands enough to do it consistently. We've kind of seen this all season long. The issue here is it seems to be working more in the benefit of the offense than it does in the benefit of our defense. Right. And that's the problem. And in the correction for that, if you think about it, is, well, instead of penetrating so much, teach these guys to hold the point of attack.
Yes.
No, you can't. These guys cannot hold the point of attack. They are not built to hold the point of attack. That's that's where a guy like Zion Lowe comes in, and you need a guy like that to kind of anchor and take up, a couple of blockers, or to be that anchor in the middle, so that you can free up a guy like Sanders or Walker to be that penetrator. Mm-hmm. Now you got something.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you're going to continue to employ that scheme, which the Bills have not, they think everybody we can just teach all of these guys that cannot physically hold the point of attack. If we could just teach them the technical behavior to hold the point of attack, then we should have the expectation that they can do it. It's not how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you watched the Christian Benford mic'd up, if you watched, Josh Allen and Sean McDermott, all these people, they all say one word. It starts with an F. Fundamentals, foundation. It's all about fundamentals. Then do that. Then you need, but see, the thing is, you can't, it's not a one size fits all. I didn't draft player A to be what player B does. And they do that. They do it all the time. See, if I got Deion Walker, I'm like, the hell is 345? He got the ballerina legs, like Ed Oliver said. Yep. Guess what? Let me bring in some beef put next to him.
Exactly.
So he can get to work, and Daquan Jones, and that's what I think that's what he was getting at. He said earlier, we got three DTs and only need a one tech to fill it out. Yeah, you're right. And I think that's kind of why I'm sitting here looking at the team, because I'm like, what do we need? What is that one piece? What is that key to make the rest of it work right? And Daquan Jones is showing you, but he's getting old.
Yep.
Zion Logue he still needs work. Zion Logue didn't have, I think he had 2 sacks in college. So that's not his game. He has no pass rush. He's a run stuffer, but he has to know the nuances. He has to know what the tandem block looks like in the league. Yep. He has to know what a pull looks like in the league. He has to know the cues, which he doesn't have because he just got called up before the Jets game.
Right.
So you have to work with young players. And that's why, people say you guys are negative. I'm not trying to be, I'm trying to tell you where we were, but where we can go. But what we have to do to get there.
Yep. That's exactly right. I mean, the idea of like you can teach me the fundamentals necessary to run a 4-4. That don't mean I'm gonna go out and run a 4-4 if I'm a 4-7 guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I just don't have the speed, you can teach me all you want. All that's gonna do is improve my speed by excuse me, a
200ths of a second.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I'm gonna still not do so well in the 40. So it's not a matter of whether or not these guys are being taught right. It's a matter of whether or not they have it in them.
Yes, it's about DNA.
Right.
About DNA, about your traits.
It sucks to say it that way because you don't ever want to say, well, this, we're gonna write this player off. He just ain't got it. But that's the business of the NFL. They do it all the time. It's called cuts in training camp.
Yep.
This guy ain't got it. He ain't got what we need in order to do what we want to do this season. Sorry.
Yeah, the problem is they cut people and then they bring back people to do the things that the people they cut do. But in essence, you don't need that. That's why a lot of the Bills that we let go of, the ones that don't make the team, do stuff elsewhere. Not Kyrie either. We're not even going to say that one. But the rest of them, you're talking about, was it Alex Austin in New England and Wyatt Tellers and people like that. Now you're like, I still want that, but we got to find it now because we got rid of it because we weren't patient. And it's not just see, McDermott and them. This is the nugget they drop. We represent and we embody the fans. Fans are a very impatient beast. Fans want it, not instant gratification, but fans also don't want to. They don't want to embrace the fact that Rome wasn't built in a day. Sometimes you have to let them go through what they go through sometimes. And I at this point in time, I'm almost like, okay, fine. I see you, Zion Logue. I see you. You messed up right there, but get it on film. Let's see what your classroom is like. Right. I see you, TJ Sanders, but get it on film. Let's see what your classroom is like. I see you, and that's why when they IR Max Harrison, I kind of went through the roof because Max Harris can walk. I've seen him walk. He's fine. He might not have been able to run, but to get him out there in the walkthroughs, get him out there and and just get the reps, get the movement, line up against Keon Coleman in a half speed when you're getting there, your rehab, just touching the grass sometimes. And that's something that you took away from him. And now he got to wait for week 6, I guess, because you got to ramp him up. He can play after this week, but you got to ramp him up. And now people are like, let's. I saw somebody, and this drove me nuts because somebody, not in the comments here, but they said, why don't we put Harrison on ice until after the bye week? He's a rookie. We don't know if he's good or not. What are we putting him on ice for? We don't even know what he is.
Right.
And Dorian Strong is on ice, and we got a good sample of what we have in Dorian Strong. I want to see if he can do it again. And I think somebody in the comments, they mentioned it as well. But Super. I'm just going to call you Super because you're going to say a lot of stuff, and I'm going to address you sometime. TJ Sanders, I for the life of me, I do not know what that pick was about. I don't. You know, he didn't have. He was 295 pounds, 6'4". That's basically what Rousseau does. You know, defensive end. That's a defensive end size, and he would be better at what they make Rousseau do right now. So put him over there, put him at left end, because you want a 5 tech, move him over 2 slots and let him do what he does, because that phone booth stuff is not working for him. He's too small, you know. But
I'm telling you right now, I feel like I am able to channel Sean McDermott's mind with all of the different things that I've learned about him throughout the 2 years that we've been doing this. And I close my eyes and I really just imagine that dude sitting there watching TJ Sanders on tape thinking, man, if we could just have this guy on the team to throw at to just, like, he's thinking about this from the standpoint of, I'm just firing bullet after bullet after bullet of pass rush and defensive tackle at these offensive lines, and eventually they're going to break down, and we're going to just start getting through. We're going to just start getting through. We just keep hammering at these guys. I can throw TJ Sanders at him. I can throw Deion Walker at him. I can throw Ed Oliver at him.
Everybody eats, it sounds like to me.
Right, on defense, which I don't know how the hell you do that on defense.
He'll figure it out. Not
right. This idea that you can beat an offense with team defense. If that ball's up in the air for 50 yards and you got a corner one-on-one with a wide receiver, that ain't team defense. You got one guy that needs to make one play in order for the rest of the team to benefit. Either side of the ball, whether that's the opponent, the opponent on offense or us on defense, right? So this again, yet another contradiction of things that get preached, you know, at One Bills Drive that, like, on the field just make no sense at all. You know, I mean, I look at it like this point here too, because this is a guy that I thought would benefit the Bills greatly if they could get him at defensive tackle. Steve Lynn says need to get a player like Campbell on Arizona at the trade deadline. A safety. Campbell on Arizona at the trade deadline. A safety that can cover would be nice too. I don't think I can't think of any safeties that would be available for trade right now.
We got Hancock. Hancock was a cornerback. He can cover. If we let him do it, if you let him do it, I'm sure he could do it. And that's the thing, you know, and you know, Steve said a cornerback that can cover. He didn't say trade for it, which I liked it. I'm glad you didn't say trade for one, because we have people on this team that can do stuff that we just don't want them to.
He is saying a safety that can cover at the trade deadline too. So he is kind of saying trade for one. Well,
okay, fine. You know, I don't like that point at all. No, but no, I you know, Calais Campbell is my age, dang near. You know, and there's got to be another Calais Campbell out there somewhere. There's got to be another player that can do that somewhere, or on the verge of doing that somewhere, but they can't find it. Or they don't find it. They don't want to find it.
Cardinals got a top 10 defense this year, man. So far, through 3 weeks, they got a top 10 defense.
What are you talking about? Who said what?
The Cardinals?
I know. Who said they didn't? Somebody said something?
No. I'm just saying that's where Campbell is.
Oh, I know that. Well, you mean, are you talking about breaking it up? Like trade for him and break it up? Or because what I'm saying is we want somebody else's something. When you had a full draft full of defensive tackles, full of them. It was a defensive tackle rich draft, and you didn't find one. That's the thing that gets on my nerves, you know, because we got Joey Bosa because they were too lazy to try to find somebody that can do that in a draft, or find somebody that can give them what he. And are they gonna be good? Maybe, maybe not. Bosa, is he gonna be healthy? Maybe, maybe not. There's a lot of maybe, maybe nots. And for me, it's like, we keep getting ourselves. What is Calais Campbell's his salary? What is his contract?
Let's find out.
I bet it's more than a second or third round draft pick. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at. We're
all right. Let's see here. He's on a 1-year deal worth $5.5 million. 4.25 is guaranteed, with a $2 million signing bonus.
See, that's not a bad contract, but where did they? Are you going to look me in my face and say we thought Calais Campbell was TJ Sanders? Are they going to look me in my face and say we thought Deion Walker was what Calais Campbell is?
Well, no, I think the idea of Calais Campbell is you got a guy who is like almost all-time great against the run.
But guess what they did? They went out and gave Ogunjobi $8 million, $6 million after suspension proration. They went out there and got Jordan Phillips back again. So
one of the rare times that me and Spin agree is I'd rather have Campbell than Ogunjobi.
Anybody that doesn't agree with that, I just close your laptop. I mean, I don't want to pile on any one player, but Ogunjobi $3 million more than Calais Campbell, and not even close to the kind of player that he is. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's easy, you know. And I think Calais Campbell, is he really a defensive end that they moved into the inside, or was he? What did he play at Virginia when he played? I think he was a defensive.
I don't know what he was in college, but
I think he was an end and went to tackle and end again, I believe.
Yeah, he was a 3-4 defensive end for years, and then I think he was in. I think he might have started off in Jacksonville as a defensive tackle.
Okay,
and then he ended up in a few 3-4 defenses as a defensive end, and I think he's yet again in Arizona as a 3-4 defensive end as well.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of what I'm talking about. TJ Sanders playing defensive end. Could he do it? Maybe. I feel like his skill set, and Sean, I'm not sure if you're still in here, but I think Sanders' skill set actually would work out as a edge defensive end, not an edge rusher, but you know, a compressor, somebody that has played D tackle. It would get him out of that double team mode. He could get one-on-ones. He's got the speed. He's got a good body type for that. You know, I just think I think we got to figure out what we're gonna do with this guy. We traded a 14 slots for this man. We got to do something. We got to get him on the field, because when people are talking about when Ogunjobi comes back, we can take his jersey. What? Your number 2 overall that you traded up 14 slot? No. See, that's the thing. We got to figure out how to get him on the field. We got to figure out what can we do. What can we scheme up to get this dude to be effective?
That's not how it works.
I know. But not here. Not here. Just pull him off the field. Get him off.
Right. I mean, look, I like this point from Steve too. He says throwing undersized pass rushing defensive tackles at big interior own linemen is just giving other teams a rest and confidence for opposing running backs. That's when you think about what I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks with the last 2 teams that we played. That's the other part of this is teams like the Saints are coming in here saying they're going to give us the run. If we could just run the ball on these guys and hit Rashid Shaheed over the top for one big play and hit Chris Olave down the field and take the chance of getting a PI or just getting a deep play to bring us into field goal range, you know, at the end of a game or something like if we could just keep, because their defense is not terrible. Right. So if they can keep the game close, which the Bills are totally willing to do, and why I have such an issue with it, let's say the Saints have the lead in the 4th quarter. The fact that they can run the ball makes me worry, because I know my team can't stop it. Like, excuse me, we're gonna have to blitz just to get the ball back, right? And you do that. Excuse me, I've been fighting some off past couple of days.
Allergies?
No, just this head cold. But anyway, this idea that take a sip of water here.
Go ahead, take your sip. Thanks for letting us know, though.
Yeah.
Only reason I say allergy because my whole household, I can't breathe. That's why you see me. I'm like, I'm good.
Oh my gosh, no, it was just me in my household. I stayed up with Caitlin till 1 something. You know, we were just on the phone talking to Damaris and ended up getting to sleep. And that morning, that Sunday morning when I woke up. I know, eat some horseradish. I need some honey, is what it is. I woke up the next morning and bro, I wasn't getting out of bed. I wasn't getting out of bed. It was over for me after that. I see Will Johnson's name in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Albert said, I wanted Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, Malachi Starks. So the draft was irrelevant to me after the first round. Would have been cool to get Will Johnson in the second, though.
Yeah, Malachi. If we had Malachi Starks, and I'll even say honestly, Will Johnson or Trey Amos with Malachi Starks would look interesting.
Yes,
that looked very interesting. I would have got up for that draft. I wouldn't have punted the ball through the ceiling, but I would have got up for that draft.
You know what it seems like? The fact that there's been so much investment in the defensive line, doesn't it make it seem like that's not that it's an acknowledgement, but doesn't it just kind of start to make it a little bit clearer that Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer were accidents? You know what I'm saying? Because like you're investing all this money and all this energy and effort into the defensive line, and you just kind of write off the safeties.
One shot, one kill, both of them.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, these guys are good enough. They're fine.
Right. Wait, we didn't know that. Get them off the field.
Right.
Get them off.
that leads me to believe, well, when you went out and you signed Hyde and Poyer, you thought, these guys are good.
Yeah, they're good enough.
They'll be fine. But then they turned into stars, and it was like,
whoa,
okay, all right.
Like, I did this.
Right.
I can do this again.
Exactly. But I mean, that's not what you want to hear. That Will Johnson already hurt. Not sooner than Max Hairston.
Yo, lay off my man. Ease back. No. And Xavier Watts, man, I know we always get it, but Xavier Watts and Malachi Stark would have made my year. And who was it? Was it Alton that said Walter Nolan and Kenneth Grant? Kenneth Grant, I didn't.
Laura thinks she's funny in here. As long as they ain't sneezing, we good. Yeah, my back needs to stay where it is.
No, Kenneth Grant, I was glad we didn't have a chance. That was when I was scared of. I was like, please don't come to 30, because if he goes to 30, we're gonna take him.
Who?
Kenneth Grant.
You think so?
Yeah, I feel like they would have taken him.
What's he doing now? Where is he?
Nothing. He's in Miami. Nothing.
Did he play?
He played.
Did he?
Yeah. He played.
See?
He played. Cato Hyde, you seen him coming. He was nice in Green Bay. Yeah, he was nice, but he wasn't that nice. He wasn't Buffalo Bills nice. He was, he was a revelation. But the thing is, it's a pairing. Yeah. It's a pairing. If you can give me Cole Bishop, and I'm going to say that because I don't even care who it is. Cole Bishop and that person who's rangy, that person who you can put in a single high. We cooking with grease here.
Yeah.
We might have something. So Cole Bishop, you saw the game. He got Mean Street to him.
Yeah.
He slamming catch, WWE style.
Yeah.
I like that. I'll take it. Yeah. Folding two up in a pretzel. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But we got to find that guy next to him, because rap is good against certain philosophies. But when you're talking about Shaheed, no, I don't want that. Because I don't want Cole Bishop back there.
Right.
So somebody's gonna be back there that I can depend on to do what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the game that really kind of that I look and say, okay, Cole Bishop, they're gonna go over your head this time. Mm-hmm. What are you gonna do? Are we gonna play cover 4? Are we gonna get rid of all these blitzes, all this stuff, because we're afraid? That's what I want to know. Are we afraid? How are we gonna play this? And I think that's what I'm gonna be looking forward to.
Sal says, a lot of bad football by so-called good teams. I can't tell if that's sarcasm coming from you, sir, or if you're just trying to prove a point. That's the tough part.
So if they can keep Bishop clear of rap, we're good. If Buffalo can keep Bishop clear of rap, we're okay.
If anybody can keep clear of rap, I mean, at this point, this is exactly why the Rams got rid of him. Like, you just can't trust this guy around your own team.
You can't. You couldn't trust Diggs, and now you can't trust him.
I've never seen anything like this before.
Either.
Never seen anything like that.
And he's the one with the Guardian cap. No, sir, take it off.
Oh my gosh. Sal was there. Okay. All right. Yeah, listen. If y'all do that again next season, I will go.
Next year, we're gonna be big enough to do it ourselves.
Well, I mean, we could.
Speaking into existence, right, chat?
We could. That's right.
Rico invite us. No, he already did. My dumb job. I don't even know. I didn't even know they were playing on Thursday forever, but I found out Sunday when I was watching the game. They're like, yeah, we're playing on Thursday. I'm like, this Thursday? Oh, that's the Miami game. Oh, TD's coming? Oh, that's the game Rico was talking about. Oh, God. I got to disappoint him.
All right. So there were, and I posted something about this on Twitter too. I reposted it anyway. Did you hear about the trade rumors surrounding, excuse me, DJ Moore?
Yes, I saw it today.
What do you think?
Everybody eats whatever. I mean, at this point, it's like whatever you add in there, it's just gonna do what they're doing. Now you tell me this, DJ Moore. What is okay? So I did some research here. I wanted to know because Spin, I think it was Spin or Steve, one of the two said that the numbers I gave last year or the numbers I gave last show for separation was cute, but it didn't tell you anything. Do you know that Josh Allen has the second most yards of separation per throw in the league? Did you know that we moved up from 11th to second? And now I'm like, what exactly could the pundits always say? Separation. This we don't get that. We don't. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean by separation? Because I know that the numbers are the numbers, and I'm like, what are you looking for? Because they say in the NFL, if you're open for a second, you're open, or whatever the case, whatever that the saying is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, what is it that we're seeing that we can't separate from? Now I looked it up. Okay, so we're the second. We face man coverage the second highest in the league because we don't have separators,
and because teams want to blitz Josh.
Yes, and so I went a step further and said, what technically beats man coverage? It's quick twitch, it's footwork, it's more so quickness and even speed.
Yeah,
because it's about getting off the line of scrimmage, being decisive in your cuts. Which who do we have on the scene that really does that? Khalil Shakir, I guess.
Elijah Moore.
Oh yeah, he's somewhere over there. They decide they want to play him. Do we like? I was gonna say, do we like Moore now?
He's a running back.
Really is.
That's all they use him.
I mean, do we even like this guy? Because he's like, they're like Samuel.
Listen, I told you the guy that the three guys that I thought would be good fits here in Buffalo during free agency, and Elijah Moore was one of them. And yeah. I think we're seeing, the way they're using him is cute now, but this is a guy that can run routes, he can do all the things that he's supposed to do as a receiver, and if you give him a shot, I think he's already shown a couple of times this season that he can get open against man coverage.
Yeah. I mean, he has 4.35 speed. I don't know what the short shuttle was, but I know we only have one player on his team. Well, I don't know Elijah Moore did. I don't think he ran. So one player on his team who actually has adequate short shuttle speed. Khalil Shakir is the only one on his team that has adequate short shuttle. So he's the only one in theory that can beat man. Curtis Samuel is even worse than Keon Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
So so it's like, okay, it's Khalil Shakir, then Keon Coleman, and the rest of them are below the standard. And I thought that was mind blowing. So I said, so what exactly are we talking about? Who are the best separators? I looked up and who they were in the last draft, and there was a guy from Georgia, there was Isaac Tesla, there was a couple of the guys that ran like a 4.05 short shuttle, and Keon Coleman was a 4.43 or something like that, 4.21. And no, he's a 4.31. Khalil Shakir's a 4.21, but that's our fastest one, and that's not even close to the guys in the draft. So we probably need to start investing in not thinking our GM is great because he said, oh, we need Keon Coleman to run a slow, Gabe Davis run a slow 40. We're never going to get him. How about Gabe Davis?
Stand that stuff.
But my thing is, this is my thing. Was Gabe Davis, even if he ran a 4.3, would he have been a first round draft pick? No.
Davis, no.
So my point is, maybe you don't get him in the fourth round. Maybe you get him in the second round if you're in a 4.3. Maybe you get him in. You had a chance to get him regardless. What is this? What is this speak? Why is it funny? And people, oh, that was great. That's not a soundbite. That's embarrassing.
Right.
It's embarrassing because, somebody, they say these things like that. They say we don't suck bad enough to get. But guess what? Like I said, when teams are good, they use all that capital that he builds up and moves up in the first round. Not in the sixth round, not in the fourth round, not in the third round. The first.
You know why Bean says that?
Why?
Because at the time, Gabe Davis is probably the only receiver on the list of players that he's allowed to draft. based on his character and all that kind of stuff.
I've been like, yo.
So he's probably saying, damn, we need a receiver. I hope he runs a slow 40 just so that I can finally get a receiver drafted onto this team. I
mean, you know, it's discouraging when you listen to some of the things they say, because people don't think about what they say and what they're really saying. You know, the Bills are. Yeah, I just realized you got the rivalry cap on. Good job.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even realize
that. There you go. So everybody can see it. This was a gift from Damaris. He brought this hat and the hoodie. So I got the hoodie, but it's just too warm for the hoodie right now.
It's white. You got to put that in the case.
I'm not great with white stuff.
I'm not either. You'll never see me wear white stuff.
Terrible with it, but it looks so good on me, man. Like,
I'm sure. Take a picture. Just leave it like that.
It.
Don't bring it out the house. Don't bring it out the room.
Don't have it nowhere around no food or nothing.
Nope. Put it back in the case. But yeah, no, when looking at how they draft, people say, well, what can you do? You draft in 30 every year. Okay, so trade back and get this is. And I usually don't go with Maddenisms, but when you play Madden and stuff like that, to the degree that we used to play, you knew you're going to be in the bottom 5. So when we used to scout, did I ever scout first round draft picks?
Not at all.
I'm not doing it because I'm not going to get one.
Nope.
So I scout second, third, heavy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now when I look at the Bills, I'm like, okay, we're going to be 28, 29, 30 every year. So let's look at the best second round pick, the top 5 to 10 second round picks. Mm-hmm. If somebody from the first round slides back, cool. But we have intel on that, but I'm not going to focus my energy there. I'm going to focus on here because, you know, we were talking about rotation, and guess who got drafted 2 picks behind Greg Rousseau? Odafe Owe.
Mm-hmm.
He plays in a heavy rotation in Baltimore, and he had 10 sacks. I wonder if we could use that. Somebody that plays in rotation and maximizes the snaps he gets. We got a guy who Rousseau last year played the most snaps on the whole defense, defensive line rather.
Him and Oliver.
Yeah, him and Oliver were way up there, and everybody else is way down there. But you need production. If you're not going to get production, you need somebody to flip in there and go get the quarterback. Meet at the quarterback, as they used to say, as we used to say. I'll meet you there. I don't care what the call is. I'll meet you there.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's just like I got to compress. They use these terms, and people are like, well, it's technical. It sounds good. It makes sense but why are you doing it?
Right.
Nobody knows why you're doing it. You're going to compress here, compress there. What does compression get you? Like you said, we got a bunch of dudes with 1 sack, half sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to separate? Who's got 4 sacks? Because Myles Garrett has like 5 sacks already, something like that.
Already.
Somebody else has 4 sacks. You know, and it's like, let's get a sack. Let's get something in there.
The idea is to fill your team with those kind of guys. And as you've pointed out, there's been guys like that have been drafted late. I mean, Max Crosby was a 4th round pick. It's a 4th round pick.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like these guys are not available at different points in the draft. We've seen it several times because Max Crosby is just one example, right? So we gotta, as you so eloquently put and you know really driven home this whole episode. You gotta do your homework. You know, before you buy anything, before you buy what we say, before you buy what the Bills say, before you buy anything, do your research. That's how you empower yourself to make sure that you are, you know, in the right place, listening to the right people, doing the right things. You got to empower yourself. You have to educate yourself. If that's not your mindset, then as a fan, you're doing yourself a disservice. If all you ever listen to is people that tell you about everything that the team is doing great, and you don't hear any rebuttal, you don't hear any counterpoints, then you're most likely gonna eventually be brainwashed. Yep. Right. And the reason that I can say that with the utmost certainty is because I know the science behind hearing. The human, I'll put it like this: human nature. Humans were designed to emulate what they see and what they're around the most. It's the main reason why most times children end up being a lot like their parents. The person or people you're around the most is who you end up emulating as you get older. and it's both voluntary and involuntary.
Yeah.
Right. So so what does that mean? If I spend my whole life listening to WGR tell me how great the Bills are, and listening to One Bills Live tell me how great the Bills are, and listen to whoever else, Joe Marino, tell me how great the Bills are, and I never hear any rebuttal, I never hear any counterpoints, I never hear anybody at all say the Bills are not doing this great.
You know who Joe Marino reminds me of when it comes to Josh Allen? I thought about this the other day. Chris Collinsworth. You know how they always make fun of him when he's talking about Pat Mahomes?
Dan Mitchell, but thank you, Billy D.
He's
Dan
like,
Mitchell.
Now here's a guy, when Josh Allen puts the visor on Joe Marino, now here's a guy who knows how to wear a visor. Yep. Now here's a guy, you know, and it's funny, but it's true. Like, some people just are like that. And Steve, to your point, I'm not sure what that really means. He said you got to put the, hold on, I gotta find it. Where is it? He said you got to put the yards of separation in context. After the fourth quarter in Baltimore, most of Josh's throws are under 20 yards. Most throws are 10 to 15. Okay, but the yards of separation was actually, Baltimore was the worst he had. The worst he had was in Baltimore. He was 3.7 yards of separation in Baltimore. Yeah, 4.2 against Miami and 3.8 against the New York Jets. So, I mean, okay, but he still had more separation in the last two games. So I'm not sure where we're going with that.
It sounds like he's trying to say that the the separation that we need is not just vertical but horizontal. We talked a little bit about that last episode too, where, you know, we talked about, like, if you're gonna run a lot of this underneath stuff against the split safety looks, then you've got to be able to get great separation underneath, and it's gonna have to come from your wide receivers, because the seam routes and all that kind of stuff, when these teams are running bracket coverage, and you know, with the split safeties and all that, they run cover two. That's you're taking away the seam if you're playing cover two, right? Now your receivers on the outside have to win in you know, with that, you know, that space between the corner and the safety. You know what I'm saying? Either that or you got to win at the post.
Yeah,
flag or post. Those are the routes that beat a cover two. You know what I'm saying? Or that shell that these teams like to put up. But that it starts with separation. If you're not scaring defenses enough to come out of, you know, the shell look, you're going to be stuck when it comes to. Oh, sorry. You trying to put it back?
Yeah.
if you're not getting enough separation to scare these defenses into doing some different things, you're going to be stuck in the playoffs having to dink and dunk, you know, all the way down the field and take up clock. Whereas, you know, if you're in a late game situation, like against the Chiefs, you're in a late game situation. You've been dinking and dunking down the field all season long, even in the playoffs. Against Denver, they hit you with bombs. You still dink and dunk the whole time. You end up beating them pretty good, but you had to dink and dunk to do it, right?
Yeah, I now I'm thinking about what Steve is saying. Yeah, I get you. I understand. I get you. But I think that's almost by design. I think that's the mentality they want now. Because if you had a separator downfield separator, that number would be through the roof. I'm sure you would be probably number one in the league in separation if you had somebody that just went downfield. But the short stuff, I think I don't have the numbers ahead of me, but I know Josh Allen has one of the lower tight window throw percentages too. I think it's by design, you know, and it's kind of boring because the Josh Allen that we know is the fun Josh Allen that throws those balls that only somebody with his arm velocity can throw. You know, you got guys who are putting balls in tight windows that shouldn't be doing it. But he's one guy that his claim to fame in college, coming out of college to the pros, was throwing balls that you shouldn't be throwing, but he threw it so hard that it got there. You know, you couldn't see it, but you heard it. And now, like, they took all that out of the offense, and you gave us all these big guys that don't know what the philosophy is behind that. So I wish somebody would tell me what the philosophy is. Brady was thinking, no. Yeah.
But what did he have that we don't have? See, it's easy to dink and dunk and play the slow game when you have a defense like he's had most of his career. That's the problem. He's had championship level defenses pretty much every time he's gotten to a Super Bowl. And even if they weren't like the 2003 defense that the Patriots had, where they were just extremely dominant. I'm sorry, 2004 rather. They still had a head coach who at the time mastered play calling and decision making from the head coach position in the same way that we're seeing with Andy Reid. And a lot of these, very simple but very intelligent and wise things that get called on the field that kind of force, let me put it like this. The things, some of the things that we saw Bill Belichick doing were exploiting NFL rules that we didn't even know about. You know what I'm saying? That's what Brady had. So yeah, if you're telling me that we can give Josh Allen the Patriots defense every time that Brady's gone to a Super Bowl to play with in the playoffs, dink and dunk all you want. If you got a head coach like that can outfox pretty much every coach in the NFL and put enough fear in them that they don't, to the degree where they don't know what to expect so much that they end up beating themselves, then yeah, go ahead, dink and dunk all you want, right? Because that's a weapon in itself. But we're dinking and dunking with a defense that's going to give up points in 3 seconds. That's the difference. You want to dink and dunk because you're trying to protect your defense until they get to the point where you hope they can get, which is being stalwart. That's the problem.
I'm going to say, Spin, I hate you. He said, bring back Lee Smith. He averaged 10 yards of separation on his roster. No, it wasn't just 10. It was probably more than that. Nobody cared about Lee Smith. And I will say this, as much as I can't stand the some of the dumb hangups people have, Hawes actually might be about something. He actually might be about something.
I like him so far.
Yeah, he. I mean, I was hoping that Lunt Chase Lunt would do more. I was hoping he would, produce at some level. Out of UConn, he's got a weird body for. Okay.
I gotta go.
Yeah. He's got a weird body for playing guard, but he's not able to play tackle that well yet. They got to figure something out with a lot of the guys they have on this team. And I'm excited that it's not me that has to leave this time. But I am sad to tell you guys I can't do a show on Friday because I have to work until 7 and then work 8 to who knows when that night. So so I won't be able to do anything on Friday. So if you are a member, hit us up in the chat.
Maybe I'll do something from the house.
There you go. There you go.
A little quick something.
But you got your show tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna do the press conference stuff tomorrow. After they come out. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it Wednesday because I got a meeting on Wednesday.
Look at you, important man, got meetings and such.
Yeah, you
coming up.
Yeah, there's a lady that owns a card game store, something like that. So we might be striking a deal there and trying to get the tea into that store too. So a lot of people, we're making a lot more connections than I thought we would. Just being at the stadium during the games. But I love it. I love the growth of everything. There was one last thing here. Yeah. So, I'm sure a lot of you, by now have seen a lot of Steve Lynn's comments. Bone says Steve Lynn will make you think the Bills suck. Part of the reason I was bringing up the stuff that I was bringing up about, propaganda by the Bills and how hearing something over and over and over and over will eventually make you believe it is, if you have a conversation with Steve, like I've had several, and get to know him, you'd understand the sentiment behind everything that he's saying is almost the same as what you and I, feel and are motivated by when we do the show, which is we just expect better. Yeah, thank you. We just expect better. That's the primary point behind all of this. It's not that we're not enjoying the wins as they come. We want them to look like the wins that the Eagles get, or the wins that the Chiefs get when they were on their way to Super Bowls, or the wins that any great team in the history of the NFL get when they're on their way to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think for me, I have to. I'm okay with the way they're winning, but I have to feel like it's sustainable.
Yes,
That's for me. I don't care. Like the Chiefs, they went 15-1 last year, and they're 15-2, and they only won one game by more than 7.
Yep,
I'm good with that. If I felt this is sustainable, but you know what we saw against the Dolphins on Thursday, getting pushed off the line with a D. We talked about this whole freaking show. You know, the secondary who we haven't seen be tested over their heads yet. Is it sustainable? Our team's gonna we cracked the code. We know how to beat Buffalo. When does that come? And that's what I'm worried about. When does that come? Once I get out of my head that day will come, then I'll be a lot more easygoing and a lot more laxed. But until I see that, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I got to tape the Sabres game now on my phone. So go ahead. This thing I forgot.
Yeah. So the Lynn says pretty soon Aaron's will have an elevator in his out.
Ain't no coming out of that thing.
No. Miguel says, I don't really care how we get the win. It's hard to win in the NFL. I mean, how hard is it to win in the AFC East?
Yeah.
You know, matter of fact, they were talking about that this morning on WGR. Like, if you look at, you know, the Titans when they went to the AFC Championship game, their division was terrible. The Chiefs, their entire existence under Mahomes has been in a terrible division. The best division out here right now is probably the AFC North, and that's because of all the defenses that you know teams have, that the teams in that division have to go through. We thought the NFC North was going to be like that, but the Vikings have trouble scoring, even though they have a great defense. You know, the Packers have not been super great on offense. You know what I'm saying? But again, the point here is a lot of these teams that are great and are making, you know, Super Bowls, they go through terrible divisions to do it. The Eagles have had to deal with the bungling Cowboys, the Giants that have been to the playoffs once in the last however long, and the Commanders that are just now coming back. You know what I'm saying? They finally got a quarterback now they're a threat, you know? So the Bills haven't had to deal with any of that. We haven't had a quarterback like the Commanders have in our division since Brady left. You know what I'm saying? Cam Newton has been the best one so far,
pretty much,
which is crazy.
I think Drake may have something to say about that, but yeah, right now, yeah, you're right.
Right. You know, thank you, Steve. This is it right here. He says, Bills are great. We just suck compared to the top 3 teams. We are all time in the AFC East. We just suck when it's down to the last 4, and all we got is JA-17. I want to be proud of the coach and roster. That's it. And that's why I'm always defending Steve, because that's where I come from. That's why I do the show. I want to be proud of what I'm seeing on the field every single Sunday. If we lose, but it looks good, I'm fine with it, because that tells me it was just a bounce of the ball. But when I look at stuff like what happened in the Jets game and stuff like what happened in the Dolphins game, even though those are wins, it wasn't a lucky bounce of the ball. It was philosophical issues. It was personnel issues. It was coaching issues. It was, you know what I'm saying? And then I got to listen to these guys in the press conference talk about, well, you know, we just take it week by week and day by day, and we just try to get better at it. Like, you're supposed to have a lot of this stuff worked out by the end of training camp.
That's what training camps for, preseason at the latest.
Right.
But you know what, though? I mean, where else would you rather be than right here with Reed's tea? Anyway, why is that, though? Because it's one part refreshing, one part delicious, and 2 parts healthy. That's what you can expect when there's only 4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 ingredients. I don't drink tea, but let me tell you, if I had to, that's a good drink right there. And what are you doing? Get over to Reed's tea, get yourself a case of the supply. Get yourself a supply of a case or the individual. Why'd you get the individual? It's just not enough. Get yourself a case. Treat yourself. You won't be disappointed. But what do I know? See for yourself. Reed's tea. Click the link in the description below and let them know Post Podium Podcast sent you.
All right, let's hit it. That means we got to jump out. I have to jump out the window. Let me put these comments back on here.
I have no problem jumping out of the window. I do it all the time. So like, I'm jumping for nothing.
Right. All right. So, for everybody that's been watching with us, thank you so much. We really appreciate every last one of you that stuck with us this whole time. If you haven't done this already and you want to support, the free way that you can do it is to hit the subscribe button. If you do that, it only takes another second. If you want to support even more, and hit the like button on this particular episode. Also, if you want to help yourself and do something to benefit you, you could hit that bell, make that thing.
Bring a lang.
You're waiting for the camera.
I was like, cue me in.
Right. So that you can get notifications when we send notifications. Like, obviously, Key will not be with us on Friday. More than likely, I will probably end up doing something from the house, so that we're not leaving you guys high and dry. I want to try not to do that as much as possible. And while you guys have been extremely understanding that, you know, we work and stuff like that, the name of the game is getting content out there. So we are going to start doing that no matter what. With that being said, tomorrow I will be doing the live stream of post-podium conversations, where we go through press conferences. One of the press conferences that I definitely want to show you guys, because there was a lot of criticism last week about my assessment of press conferences, is I want to show you guys the Terrell Bernard press conference from Friday. But again, you got to tune in for that. A lot of good stuff coming up. This Sunday, we're doing our first watch party here at the stadium. Studio, right? You gonna be able to make it?
Here, yeah. You just reminded me though.
Okay. So we will be watching Bills v Saints here from the studio. We got a big old, I think that's what, a 55, 65 inch TV there or whatever. So we'll be checking that out. You can check us out live and enjoy the game with us and talk your stuff. We're gonna talk our stuff. Maybe even do a post game after that. Who knows? We'll see. But whether or not we continue to do that depends on whether or not you guys show up. So if that's something that you think you'll enjoy, tune in. And if you like it, make sure you let us know, because we're going to be judging how, you know, whether or not we do that based off of your reaction. Do a call-in show Friday. You know, we can do that now. It doesn't have to be like on a phone. We can send the link out to, like, we can post the link, and then people that want to get in, you don't have to show your picture. You can just, you know, talk, and we can go from there. But I will figure out a way to get some phone action in here too, and maybe we'll try that out too. So thank you for that, Steve. Other than that, you got anything, bro?
I'm good to go.
Okay, so definitely check us out tomorrow for the post-podium conversations. Check us out on Friday. We will do a, you know, pre-Saints, prep show. And then Sunday we'll be doing a watch party here in the studio. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I'm sorry. My youngest son, Ray, is been on my back about getting his channel more action, right? He's been pounding the table for more views and more subscribers and stuff like that.
Man, where was he when we needed him? We were doing shows with 7 people watching. Pay your dues, son. Pay your dues.
So, Gaming with Ray is his channel on YouTube. We play a lot of Crash Team Racing and a few other family oriented games. We have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs and stuff. So definitely make sure you check that out.
And that's REY.
Yep, REYLEN gaming. Game, well, REY.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like the whole.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the whole thing, but yeah.
Well, he says his name. It doesn't matter. But
he's like, Dad, keep my name out your motherfucking mouth.
All right, we got to get out of here. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I've been your co-host, Aramis.
40 keys.
Hey, you've been real good at that lately.
Hey, I'm trying. This man got 41 subs up, man. Get out of here. Get out of here. You got 41 subs already, man. Watch out. Watch out. I'll have the conversation with this kid. Already.
All right, y'all have a great night. Peace.
See you later.